I want to start off by saying congratulations. I mean, what a recognition. Best Branding Award from the Canadian Brewers' Choice Awards. What does an award like this represent to you?
Well, it kind of came as a surprise, I have to admit, because we're not really linked or grounded with the Canadian Brewers Association. We work regularly with the Quebec Small Brewer Association, but we feel a little bit disconnected with the rest of the country. And the specific prize that we won is you can people submit suggestions for people to get these awards, and we don't know who submitted our name. So it kind of came as a surprise. At first we were, we got an email saying, congratulations, you made the short list for the branding prize at the CBA.
Nice. So
we were like, all right. And then a week later they called us saying, it would be really nice you guys showed up. We're just saying. So so we drove down, and there we go. We won the prize.
Yeah. You're saying that you're surprised, humbly, Simon. I mean, you guys are out there.
Well, I have to say that we have a lot of fun with our branding. And I would say maybe the most fun part about it is that we work with different artists every time. We don't have like a branding line, or we don't aim at making sure that people know. When they see one of our product, they know it's a Dunham product because they all look the same. Basically, I'd say they'd probably say it's a Dunham because they never look the same. That's, I guess, would be our approach. So we really, when we have a beer project on the works, that's where I step in and I try to match an artist that, in my point of view, would be like a perfect match to work on it.
So explain that for your audience. You are the, I think the official title is Artistic Director at the Brasserie Dunham, right? So how does this work exactly? Do you think it as the art serving the beer or the beer serving the art? How does it work?
It works both ways, sometimes people will, they know that we work with artists, so they will get in touch, they will send their art, and I will always reply saying, well, it never really starts with the art, it starts with the beer. So I regularly have meetings with the head brewer, and if they have an idea or something they want to work on, or we're about to do a collaboration with another brewery, maybe, so I gather as much information as they can give me.
For example, give me an example.
Well, what type of beer? What type of beer is it going to be? What is it a German, a Belgian style beer? Is there any specific ingredients that we're going to use with that beer? Sometimes if it's a collaboration, often collaborations with other beer will happen because the guys went at a beer fest, for instance, and they met another brewery and they just had a good time and they became friends. And it always ends up by, hey, we got to do a collab one day. So there's always like these little stories and things that happen that will help also to inspire maybe the artist.
Okay,
to illustrate.
So the style inspires an artist, the ingredients inspires an artist, maybe the friendship or the fraternity within, possible collaborations. So how does it work? You then have to choose an artist, or you?
Yeah. So usually I will try and find the name of the beer, which sometimes is quite a task because there are a lot of beers out there. So we try and find a fun name, and then as soon as I've got that down, I will, in my head, will try to find an artist that I think would be a perfect match, for many reasons, and then I'll get in touch, I'll reach out to artists. I have to admit that that's the fun part of my job, I've been doing a lot of printing and publishing over time, and done a lot of collaborative projects. So I'm always really comfortable to reaching out to artists.
Yeah, and Simon,
that's the fun part.
Yeah, so just for our audience to understand, I mean, when you say that you've been, collaborating or creating in this world for many years, I mean, you started as an independent artist. You worked a little bit in the beer world. Were you a server at Cheval Blanc? Did I read that right?
I was a waiter there for 15 years, maybe.
Yeah, and then you became friends with the co-owner of Dunham right now, and you were one of the...
Actually, Éloi used to be our head brewer at Le Cheval Blanc when I used to work there.
Oh, there you go.
He moved over to Dunham, and 2 years later, I was following up on him. So
wow, so that friendship stems from a really long time, and these creative roots are really deep and well established. You mentioned the fact that you're well established here in Quebec. You have a wonderful reputation, but I think what people need to understand that this prize kind of, like, in my sense, I've been following you from afar, but in my sense is kind of long overdue. You've a little bit shaken the beer world, if I can say so correctly, with the art that you brought forward.
Well, I remember maybe 8 years ago, I used to work, when I started working in Dunham, I was just working the brewery, There's so many things to do in a brewery. So one day I'd be canning, one day I'd be kegging, one day I'd be driving the truck, whatever came up my way, I'd do. And one day they had the idea of rethinking the whole branding of the brewery, and they had approached a little design firm, and they were about to do a presentation, and they knew about my background, so they said we would like you to attend this presentation because we want to have your feedback on it. And what they did was really nice, but I think that in the back of my head I had like my idea, and I said to them, well, it was nice, but I think I have a better idea. And I pitched them, and it turned out that that year we had some new beers coming out. Like, for example, one beer it's called the Saison du Pinac, and it became one of our flagship beers. It was a award-winning beer, and the artist who did the label art is an artist from London, Ontario.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. You say Saison du Pinac, and I can
Jesse
see...
Jacobs. Jesse Jacobs is the artist. And I think that label really, really hit hard.
Yes, it did. Very much so. Well, you're saying Saison du Pinac, and I can see in my mind right now the label of that beer. It's like something that really... And it shook the world a little bit, because we knew of maybe other companies outside in the rest of Canada doing not quite similar things, but asking artists to create labels. But then having this here in Quebec and being part of this, really, really important artistic movement, artistic freedom, I should say, because you just highlighted the fact that, we didn't want to create something where people would truly, be put in a box where everyone would recognize exactly what Dunham beers are. But then again, now we do, because they're so unique. They're not in the box, but they kind of are. Having the artist being involved in the whole creative process is really important, I think, and really fun. So how does that work?
Well, when I get in touch and they show interest in the project, I will just lay out all of the information we mentioned earlier. Everything that we know about the beer to be, and whatever I think or thought that made me think of that artist in particular, and then we just let them be. I say I'm an art director, but I try to not intervene so much when we work with an artist.
Why not?
Because, I want them to do what they do.
You know what it is, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the reason why I'm knocking on their door is because I think they're awesome, and we would be privileged to have them illustrate a beer label for us. So,
is that common that artists get such creative freedom?
I don't think so, no, because sometimes some artists will feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, because they're so used to being told, what to do, and there's someone looking over their shoulder saying go there or don't go there, stuff like that, and I try not to do that, honestly.
You now have been with the company for quite some time. As you said, you started by working in the brewery itself, and now being the creative director or facilitator, maybe I could put it that way, facilitator from beer to artists. what's your biggest prize for you in there? You've just been recognized by a brand prize, but what are you most proud of in this relationship that you have through creating such a unique product?
Well, they say that what's the saying? Something like if copying is like a kind of flattery. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing like major breweries making new lines of products and stuff, and going towards more alternative artists and less into really commercial art type branding, and when I was seeing that, I was like, okay, now I think they're catching up onto something, and it's just good for the artists. I think, the more the artists get work, the better.
Because it's culture all around, for sure.
Exactly.
Is that a form of anarchy, of saying let's have a brand that has no brand? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so, but I think that it's just part of the whole having fun idea of how we do things, because every single beer label project we start from scratch, so see what happens, and it's a lot of fun.
It'll be fun to see what the future says for you. We'll see what happens. Time will tell how creative you'll get. Simon, again, congratulations to you and the whole team behind the beautiful work that you're doing at Brasserie Dunham. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.